Welcome to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix preview and predictions. This is coming for you from the Hexon F1 stables, and this will be the last Grand Prix for the 2025 season. And I can tell you, it's going to be nothing short of a chaotic Grand Prix. There is no way it's not going to be chaotic because we are having the championship protagonists, Lando Norris, Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri, going into this last race with 16 points different, 12 points between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, and 4 points between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how they are able to sort themselves out for the last race of the season. This is one of the anti-clockwise tracks of the season with 16 turns. The first sector is a very short one, but the middle sector is the longest middle sector with 2 DRS zones in the middle sector, very fast flowing middle sector, and the third sector has the beautiful short flowing turns that makes it very interesting in Marina. Now in 2021 the layout was changed, especially from turn 15 to turn 16. That takes about 10 seconds, was adjusted, easy flowing, and that track has a circuit length of 5.281 kilometers. That's about 3.281 miles. That's a race length of 306.183 kilometers. That's about 190.253 miles. A little bit shorter than the Qatar track, but not as abrasive as the Qatar track, not as hot as the Qatar track, but it's a very interesting track with Lewis Hamilton winning 5 races out there and Red Bull winning 7 constructors races. The track first held Formula 1 race in 2009, and Formula 1 races have been held there in 16 years. A 58 lap race. Last year, Lando Norris took the pole position and took it down to victory. What a race it was. The track in Marina was designed by Aman Tilke, and that is situated in Abu Dhabi, the capital of UAE. The interesting thing around it is Formula 1 race there is hosted by Etihad Airways, has announced they are in negotiation for a deal for sponsorship of the Grand Prix. They've been doing that, but coming from the last race in Qatar, we had a very pleasant race in which Max Verstappen gave his all and won the race, and the two McLaren came short the same way they came short in Las Vegas. Now they are purposefully, for me, gifting Max Verstappen this championship, and I think it's going to be a huge one for them, and it might all end in cries for the McLaren team if they lose this championship, because for me they are on the cusp of losing this championship with the way they are running it. Now, for you to know, this track is one of the biggest tracks of the season. It hosts the last race and the most glamorous race of the season. We are going to be having a concert ranging from Thursday to Sunday. Benson Boone will be starting on Thursday on the 4th, Post Malone Friday 5th, Metallica Saturday 6th, and Katy Perry will be ending the whole shenanigans of paparazzi in concert on Sunday 7th. So it's going to be up and close, very interesting, firing up Abu Dhabi we are going to be having. And know that when it ends in Abu Dhabi, it brings all the magic. You don't want to miss it. It's not been a good track for Ferrari. In the turbo hybrid era, we've had 2014 Lewis Hamilton, 2015 Nico Rosberg, 2016 Lewis Hamilton. That was the night he gave Nico Rosberg a nightmare of his life. 2017 Valtteri Bottas, 2018 Lewis Hamilton, 2019 was won also by Lewis Hamilton, 2020 was won by Max Verstappen, 2021 was won by Max Verstappen in the biggest and the most controversial race of the century. And in 2022 we had Max Verstappen winning the race. 2023 we had Max Verstappen winning. 2024 Lando Norris won the race. So it has been a very glamorous one from the turbo hybrid era to the ground effect era. Now a lot of drivers are happy to move away from this ground effect era, so a lot of drivers will be saying goodbye to these ground effect cars. Talking about tires, we are having 3 tires coming in: the C3, C4, C5. C3 being the hardest, C4 being the medium, and C5 the softest tire in the Pirelli range coming into Abu Dhabi. The weather is telling us that it's going to be a very, very nice weather, dry and a gentle breeze. Temperatures going from 26 on Saturday qualifying session to 27 degrees for the Sunday race. So it's going to be a very interesting race. You can't imagine how interesting the race is going to be, because we are going to see the two McLarens against the Red Bull. Now this race is not about just pole position, it's all about front row and how you defend. Now I think the McLarens will be faster, Still, they were faster here last year. They will be faster. Will the McLaren trade the papaya rule and set it off for themselves and make sure they are able to give a good account of themselves and just ditch the papaya rule for them to have a good race? I'm not sure. They've been saying they love what they do, and where they are now is a kung fu coup of how papaya rule has made McLaren almost, well, if not lost the championship, because I wish Max Verstappen could win the race. If rules give victory, I think McLaren would have won this championship a long time ago. It's all about how you go for it, how dark you play. That's how championships are won. That is where champions are made. They give it all, they fight, they push the limit. That is where Max Verstappen stature shows, because he's going to go into that race gun blazing, elbows out, head boots out, to make sure frustrate them. Now, the tire strategy will give a whole lot of interesting, not just setup strategy, in which Red Bull will be confident about. They have nothing to lose. But will McLaren be confident? I'm not sure McLaren will be confident, because at this point McLaren are broken, and one thing scoring points give is it gives you the upper hand, the strength to be like, yes, go for it, in which McLaren never had that. If McLaren loses this championship, if any of their drivers loses it, I'm not sure they can win again, because nobody knows what is coming in 2026. How will McLaren really go for it? How will they position themselves in Abu Dhabi? Will be left for them, because they need themselves, they need their whole team. Now they've all gone into silence mode, and they will be weeping over what they've lost, because at this time they had the chance to win the championship earlier on with any of the drivers that they go for, but now it's going to be a whip for them. Now, what do I think will happen in Abu Dhabi? I think, like I said earlier, Max Verstappen will not give any chance. Meanwhile, the McLarens have a lot to lose. I believe McLaren will come with a strategy to favor Lando Norris to win the championship, and Piastri help him. And if they don't come with that, and they want these two guys to go and race, there'll be a lot of yellow flags, there'll be a lot of cars jamming themselves, and there might be incidents. A lot of penalties will flow. I'm telling you, a lot of penalties will flow, and that would really bring a big impact on the race strategy, how tires are used, how stops are made, and how cars are run. I think it's just going to be pretty easy that after this season, a lot of the drivers would reflect on this season. A lot of teams will reflect also and see how they really not put up a fight, or they really messed their season up. But going into the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, I think the race is going to be very, very interesting. We are going to, at least this year, we won't see Ferrari's confusion after the 7th of December, and we're going to next year hoping we are able to wake up to hear good news about Ferrari. And I hope Mercedes would have learned about the new era of cars, because I want us to go into 2026 having a lot of competition, not just for the McLarens or the Red Bull or the Mercedes. I want to see the Williams in play, because they've been up and doing. Carlos Sainz has been doing a very wonderful job in the last few races. So for me, I want to see him. I want to see Nico Hülkenberg. I want to see Fernando Alonso, especially with Andre Newey's car performing his magic. And I also want to see how Cadillac looks on the grid in 2026, and the Audi team, how they look in 2026. It's going to be very interesting. Catch you guys on the FP1 FP2 video in Abu Dhabi. I love you guys. Bye. Cheers.